She wanted the status, but she didn't want the work. When the status vanished, so did she. This isn't just a saying. It's a true story about someone who chased a fantasy and crashed hard. I met a woman, let's call her Megan, at a local park one afternoon. We got to talking, and she shared this incredible story about her sister-in-law. This woman was obsessed with projecting an image of wealth, the kind you see plastered all over Instagram. But the reality was a very different picture. Megan's sister-in-law, let's call her Jessica, wasn't just living a little beyond her means. She was building a palace on a foundation of quicksand. She drained the family savings account money her husband had painstakingly put aside for their future, for their kids, and spent it all on designer bags, luxury brand clothes, and extravagant meals she couldn't afford. Why? To look rich on social media. Her Instagram feed was a curated gallery of a life she wasn't actually living. At home, the fantasy turned into a nightmare for her family. Megan told me Jessica treated her own husband and kids like they were her personal staff. She'd demand they stay out of her perfectly staged photos, complain if they made a mess in her pristine home, and generally acted as if they were inconveniences in her grand performance. She wasn't building a family. She was directing a movie where she was the star and everyone else was just an extra. All of this, the clothes, the dinners, the fake perfection, was financed by credit cards and personal loans. She was racking up debt at an alarming rate, always believing she could just manifest more money. Well, reality has a way of showing up uninvited. The credit card companies started calling. The minimum payments became impossible to meet. One day, the calls turned into letters, and the letters turned into repossession notices. The luxury car she paraded around in was towed away right from her driveway. The designer furniture she bragged about was hauled out of the house. The life she had so carefully constructed for her online audience was publicly dismantled, piece by piece. The crash was brutal and swift. Her husband, finally seeing the full extent of the financial ruin, filed for divorce. He had to protect what little he and the children had left. Stripped of her husband's income and the stage for her performance, Jessica was left with nothing but a mountain of debt and a closet full of expensive bags that couldn't pay the bills. And this is where karma, as Megan put it, really came into play. Jessica had spent years curating an image, but she'd never invested a single day in developing a real skill. She had no work history to speak of, no professional network, unless you count her thousands of Instagram followers who, surprise, surprise, weren't exactly rushing to offer her a job. She tried to find work, but what do you put on a resume when your only experience is taking selfies with borrowed luxury? Her reputation preceded her. In a small community, word gets around. People knew her as the woman who bankrupted her family for Instagram likes. Employers weren't interested. Friends she had once entertained at lavish credit-funded dinners suddenly stopped answering her calls. The status she chased was gone, and without it, she had nothing to offer. She learned the hard way that a strong work ethic, real skills, and genuine relationships are the true assets. The designer bags and the filtered photos, they're just props in a play that eventually has to end. It is a powerful reminder that what we build in reality is so much more important than the facade we project online. Thanks for listening to this story. If you have a similar story or a thought to share, drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life lessons.